Hi guys, it's your Stogie sister coming at you with something different today. It's going to be a review, but not on a cigar, on Invisalign. Invisalign is orthodontic appliances or braces. I decided that I needed braces because I had one tooth on the bottom half of my jaw that I was having a hard time reaching with a toothbrush. It had got pushed back due to crowding. Although I've had pretty straight teeth my whole life, and being an adult, my teeth were still shifting and one tooth got pushed back some, and I just wanted to make sure that I could get that with a toothbrush without much of an effort. After talking to my orthodontist, I decided that we would try Invisalign first and go to metal braces later if needed. However, I don't think I'm going to need to because the Invisalign is working great for me. Alright, let's talk about what's included when you get your Invisalign. You get your trays in boxes like this. Now in this box is all your trays. Let's see, 15? There's 13 trays in this particular box, which is 13 weeks for me. You may or may not change your tray every week. It just depends on what your orthodontist says. I change mine every week. Also, they will give you a container to put your trays in when you take them out of your mouth. And a little chewy. This chewy helps the trays sit on your teeth correctly. So you put the trays in, bite down on the chewy multiple times, and the trays are set properly in your mouth. This allows the anchors that they put on your teeth to adhere correctly to the trays and make sure the trays are in the correct position, which will then line your teeth up. Alright, so the rules. Once you get your trays, you change them every week or as prescribed by your orthodontist, and you have to keep them in for at least 20 hours a day. I believe sometimes they say even 22 is preferred, which means 2 to 4 hours out of every day is reserved for your eating and taking off your trays. Additionally, you don't want to be taking your trays out just whenever you feel like it. Because the trays are made out of plastic, they are a little bit more delicate and you can break and snap them. So I only take out my trays when I need to eat or if I'm drinking something. I'll get into that more later. Okay, pros. I can eat anything I want. The only thing adhered to my teeth are these little tiny plastic anchors, and I can eat corn on the cob, popcorn, taffy candy, anything like that. It's easy to brush your teeth because you remove the trays, you're able to reach all of your teeth, so you can easily brush and floss your teeth. It's also easy to clean the trays. Now I had a little bit of hiccup in this procedure because my dentist office gave me the wrong cleaning instructions. They actually gave me the cleaning instructions for metal braces, which is to use a toothbrush and toothpaste, instead of for Invisalign, which is to use Efferdent or cleaning crystals. So for the first 100 or so weeks, I was actually using a toothbrush and toothpaste. I was using a tooth whitening paste, which means you have to put the trays on your hand very carefully, hold them while you're brushing them. It was fairly terrible and I don't recommend it. Another pro for Invisalign is, aside from getting your teeth straight, it does help with clenching and grinding, because for some people, when they feel the trays in their mouth at nighttime or in the daytime and they feel that they're starting to grind their plastic trays together, it gives them that mental alert and sensation that they're clenching or grinding and they need to stop. This happens to me even when I'm sleeping. I'm not a grinder, but I do clench my teeth when I'm sleeping. But when I feel my trays start to come together really hard, I stop. It wakes me up just enough to stop me, and I don't do it anymore. Now let's go over the cons. The first being, you can't have your trays out for more than 2 to 4 hours a day, which means you have to plan when you're going to eat and snack, because the second con is you can't keep taking your trays off and on throughout the day. Even if your time still tallies up to having them in for 20 or more hours a day, you still have to have them on for an extended period of time, consistently. The trays are easier to break because they're made out of plastic. So if you are a big snacker, I would consider getting metal braces, because Invisalign trays wouldn't work for you as well. The next con is the trays are easy to stain. If you drink any colored beverage at all, your trays will get discolored, which does not always come off when you're doing the cleaning procedure of your trays. So you do need to remove your trays for sugary drinks. That's another con. And the why I say this one is because there are a lot of people that like to drink cold coffee with different types of sugars in it, or flavoring, different sodas out there. All of that stuff is going to stain your trays and keep the sugar liquid against your teeth, which could create additional cavities. So I highly suggest to remove your trays anytime you're going to have a sweetened beverage. Another con is that you can't have hot drinks. So there goes coffee, tea, hot cocoa. All those are out the door because your trays are again made out of plastic and they can warp. They will not keep your teeth properly aligned at this point. And the last con I want to talk about is grinding and clenching. So while it's also good for some people, these trays, and that's why I have it in the pro list, it's also bad for the other half of the people, because when they feel plastic in their mouth or something with this type of texture and consistency, it actually makes them want to grind or clench down harder on the trays than they would if it was just a tooth. So that might not work for you. It's one of those things that you'll have to see how it is for you once you're wearing them. Oh, and I want to tell you about what my dental hygienist said. She said some people complained about the Invisalign system because of the anchors that they put on your teeth can be sharp. And while I find that they are sharp, I don't think it is overly so. It just takes a while for your lips and cheeks to get used to the texture against against the skin. So for me, it kind of makes me feel like a prehistoric dinosaur because my teeth just feel a little bit sharper. And it's easier to trap food against your teeth and gums than it is without the anchors being there. So I guess that's another con too. So always brush your teeth immediately after you're done eating. Otherwise, you're going to have food hanging around. Now for me personally, Invisalign trays are working great, but I'm very religious about how long I wear them. I don't take them out except for when I'm going to eat or smoke a cigar. But what I realize when I'm going to smoke a cigar, I have to take my trays out and then budget accordingly with my food during that time too. So on review days, I usually don't have lunch because I am smoking a cigar and doing a review, and I don't want to taint my palate with the flavor of food. And because I have a little bit of an overbite, the trays are working really well for me because they can put overbite protection, which is basically just little tiny plastic plates built into the back of the teeth of the tray, which when I bite down, I'm touching the plastic and it's aligning my teeth correctly. So it's not as difficult as it would be if I was wearing metal braces. Matter of fact, my orthodontist said people with overbites that get metal braces pretty much hate their life for the first year because of the pain and the discomfort of their bite and the metal in their mouth making contact with the rest of their teeth. So I have been happy with my Invisalign. I'm actually ahead of schedule as far as straightening out my teeth. I shouldn't be in Invisalign much longer. And I needed minimal don't know what the term for it is, dentistry we'll say, to get them to fit correctly. In other words, for some people, their teeth are fairly messed up and a lot of filing needs to be done so they can bring the teeth closer together or adjust the teeth, and whether they need to make them tilt or all that kind of stuff. Sometimes they need a little bit more room in the mouth, so they have to file the teeth, which actually narrows down your enamel, narrows down that tooth so that they're creating space to move teeth around in. They didn't have to do that for me. That was one thing I did ask them about. Another con is the fact that it will adjust your speech until you get used to the trays. Mine continues to be altered because I have bite plates on the back of my trays, which is why I've always had a lisp when I'm doing my reviews and my trays are in. Now this part is for cigar smokers only, or cigarette smokers. Your trays will pick up the nicotine and aroma of your cigar or cigarette. So not only will they discolor, but they will smell, even if you brush and or use Effordent on cleaning them. Therefore, most of the week, I will schedule when I'm going to eat and when I'm going to have my trays out around my review days. Because if I'm going to smoke a cigar for a review, I don't want my trays in. And so I might have a quick snack, brush my teeth, get out there and do a review with my trays off and have a cigar. With the trays on, which I have done before, you are tasting less of the cigar than you normally would. I don't know if it's because I don't know why, but it does. It limits the normal amount of flavor that you would get from the cigar. Now, I can't say anything about cigarette smoke because I don't smoke cigarettes. So I don't know how it affects the flavor of a cigarette if that's something that you like. So the big con for me, besides staining of the Invisalign trays if you smoke a cigar, is the smell. The smell is pretty terrible left on them, and it leaves an aftertaste even after you clean them. So I try not to smoke cigars with the trays in. I mean, I did it for science so that I could do a review on it, but it's not something that I aim to do every week. If I do smoke a cigar with the trays in, it's going to be towards the end of the week, right when I get ready to change trays for the week, so that I can have a new tray in and I'm not keeping the old tray, the old stained and smelly tray in for more than a night because I know the next morning I'm going to trade out for the week. That I may do. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask down below and I will answer them as soon as possible. I didn't want to go into prices or anything like that because it's going to be different for everybody depending on your insurance, if you have insurance, but anything else I will happily talk to you about. Alright guys, we'll see you next time, and until then, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and take care of your neighbors.